I talk about leadership, I think that that's anyone. And because we lead the way we like to be led, it's important to recognize there's different ways to adapt our leadership style to support other individuals. So let's take a look at these different types of leadership styles. You might be quite familiar with the idea of authoritative leadership. This one was also very popular in the 80s and early 90s. So very traditional form of leadership, quite direct, hierarchical, and it's still very much evident in a lot of organizations, especially more traditional firms and organizations such as banking, legal. It's something where you'll see that more authoritative leadership show up. However, in organizations that are more forward thinking, such as this one, that's doing the work around diversity and inclusion and around leadership and having talks such as this one, you're seeing a lot more of that consultative or collaborative leadership style. And so that's people that are more engaged with others. They target team building and connecting with one another and knowing the team. So this style started to come up a lot more in the 2000s. This supportive leadership is a newer style of leadership. So this is something that I would say in the last 7 years or so, but definitely over the course of the pandemic. And when research about psychological safety started to really surface, supportive leadership started to come more to the forefront. And this is the idea that people are more than just their role, that you get to connect with people and learn about them as individuals. And I know that there's a line there. Some people don't want to mix work and home life together, but you want to understand the people that you work with. What are their values? What matters to them? Because you know what? Most conflicts occur because of a mismatch of values, conflicting emotions, or conflicting ideas. The more you have a relationship with someone as an individual, the easier it is to have productive conflict. And when you have productive conflict, you actually can create more innovative responses, learn and develop yourselves more, and actually, honestly, have more fun. I swear productive conflict can be more fun because debate is important. Being able to negotiate in a way where you respect one another is key. The final one here is challenging leadership. And challenging leadership is I probably in my career mostly started out with authoritative leadership and challenging leadership with the people that led me. So again, how we kind of grew up in our careers or are growing up in our careers tend to be the way that we might lead others. So I really needed to pay attention to challenging leadership because challenging leadership is this idea that you want to grow people, you want to challenge, debate, encourage them to try new things and take risks. And as we all know, when it comes to risks, we won't take them as much if we don't feel safe. And so what I've learned, especially in the last 4 years of research that has come out with the pandemic, is that you actually need a good foundation of supportive leadership before you move towards challenging leadership. Consultative leadership is also really key as a starting point for the way that you're working with the people on your team or the projects and cases you're working on. Authoritative leadership is still very important and it's still useful. Remember back to the beginning of the pandemic when all hell broke loose? Just think of if someone had said to you, well, what do you think? What would make you feel comfortable? We all wanted to be directed. We wanted someone to have an opinion and tell us what we were going to do. We wanted to feel security. And so when it comes to authoritative leadership, it's really helpful to have that type of leadership when there's chaos. I always say that if someone's on fire, you don't ask them if they're hot. You put out the fire. Then you try and understand, well, how did you get on fire in the first place? That's authoritative leadership, is taking action, making decisions, and then consulting back with the team. How did that go? What do you think? Now that we have a bit more space, let's understand this together. So just because I know some of the mics aren't working, I just like to take a moment for you to think about which leadership style is the one that you probably lean towards the most, and what might be something that you actually want to try out a little bit.